Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on FS1. Here's what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the day's show, and there is a lot to get into in today's podcast. Skip stands by his belief that Jerry Jones will replace Dak Prescott in Dallas's starting lineup, despite any reports, because what Romo wants more than anything is to start in Jerry World next year. Shannon believes that the Boogie Cousins trade was about keeping the NBA All-Star Game MVP happy. We answered the question if a certain alley-oop last night repaired the KD and Westbrook relationship. Plus, Lakers forward and NBA champion Meta World Peace is in studio to give his unfiltered thoughts on the NBA All-Star Game. Finally, Fox Sports NBA analyst and our friend Chris Broussard checks in to tell us why LeBron James has never competed in the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. Skip and Shannon, how was the time off?
Well, I was going to admit publicly,
You missed me.
I can't believe it. I missed you. I don't know what happened to me, but I missed you. I can't explain it, but I missed you.
I got three and a half hour massages from my girl Des.
Oh.
Got a 2-hour haircut from my guy Joe, and I got a mani-pedi 2 hours, 2.5 hours from my girl Marilyn. So I'm good.
2-hour haircuts?
Yeah. And I brought you something back, Skip. This is a high-end. It's a Navcon A.
Is it legal?
Yeah. It's eye drops.
Oh, eye drop.
Yeah, because I need you to see how clearly you get beat down today.
Oh, one of those. A nice reach to start the show.
Well, we're glad to be back, and let's get it started with a huge trade in the NBA. The Kings have reportedly agreed to trade All-Star DeMarcus Cousins to the Pelicans. The Kings manager, Vlade Divac, said recently that the team wasn't trading Boogie. The Kings are expected to receive Buddy Hield, a first-round pick, and other assets. Skip, what's your reaction to this trade?
Joy, Shannon, I am dumbfounded by what just happened. After the All-Star game, about 4 days before the trade deadline, this actually happened. And the harder I look at it, the worse it gets.
For whom?
I think the Sacramento Kings just might have made the worst trade in NBA history, because they just gave up a top 10 player. I know he's got his emotional roller coaster issues, but a top 10 player who has the potential to quickly mature into a top 5 NBA player.
Yes.
And in return, the Sacramento Kings got a former 4th overall pick who has never made an all-star team. His name is Tyreke Evans, and he's coming off 3 knee surgeries in the last 18 months. Really? And they also got a Buddy Hield, and I'm on record with this one. He stayed all 4 years at a school that I love and watch, University of Oklahoma. Stayed all 4 years, which is a bad sign, which is why I said he's being overrated. He went 6th overall to New Orleans and has been nothing but a disappointment this year. And I fear for him because he's going to be viewed as the linchpin in this trade. He is now going to be on a hot seat up in Sacramento he does not want to have to sit on. And I fear that Buddy Hield will further crumble under the pressure to kind of live up to being the guy who replaced DeMarcus Cousins in Sacramento.
Who's really the last guy that played 4 years of college and turned out to be great? Tim Duncan?
No, that's a good one.
I mean, if you really think about it, normally, if you're really good, you leave after your freshman or sophomore year. You don't stay all 4 years.
I'm just off the top of my head. Did Kyle Korver stay all 4 years? I'm not even sure he did, but whatever. Yeah, your point is your point.
Yeah.
And Tim Duncan was a rarity because he was against the grain in everything he did in his life. And he said, I love college. I'm staying at Wake. But everybody knew he could have come out at age 18 and played in the NBA. And then finally, we throw into this deal Langston Galloway, who's a decent bench player, and they did get a first-round pick, but I think it's going to wind up being in the middle of the draft, about 15th overall, and they did get a second-round pick. But that's it for DeMarcus Cousins, the best big man in basketball, who is now tied for 9th in player efficiency rating overall, which is high and very good. And I must admit, I have a little bias here. I've been a fan of DeMarcus Cousins since he was at Kentucky. And before that draft, I went on record on my old show and said I would take DeMarcus #1 over John Wall. And a lot of people ridiculed me for that and laughed at that. But I think I've been proven true, even though John Wall's started to come into his own the last couple of years. I'll still take DeMarcus Cousins over John Wall. I've had one lengthy session with DeMarcus at a restaurant just randomly here in Los Angeles. We sat down and talked for a while. And I like him. I think his heart's in the right place. If you study what he's done in Sacramento, he's given a lot of time and a lot of money to charity very quietly and not gloated or boasted about it. So I think his potential is high, even though we know about the emotional issues, the trust issues, the post-game tirades, the technical fouls. I get all that. But I believe as a player that he's even slightly better than his new running mate, Anthony Davis is, because I think that—
I wouldn't go that far, Skip.
I will, because you know what? DeMarcus is a better passer than Anthony is. DeMarcus has high-level passing skills where he could be a Tim Duncan in the right offense with the right coach. I'm not sure it's going to be immediately in New Orleans, but he's also turned into a pretty deadly three-point shooter where I trust him. He's a 36% three-point shooter. So he's got that added to his arsenal. I'm not sure that Alvin Gentry is the kind of dynamic leader that he needs at this point in his life, but Alvin is an NBA lifer who provides some even keel stability for him because he's gone through, 6 coaches in 7 years in Sacramento, so you got to give him that. And in the end, I have no idea why Sacramento didn't just wait. If they're going to get rid of him, which they clearly want to do, even though they've said for months now, there's no way we're going to trade him. But if they wanted to do it, they should have made it public and auctioned him off. I know there are a number of teams who just said no way to DeMarcus Cousins. But the Lakers, would they have budged maybe at the trade deadline on Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern time with Brandon Ingram? Would they finally said, we'll give you Brandon Ingram?
They seemed to be set that they were not going to part ways.
Okay, well, I would have done that. I would have done Brandon Ingram for DeMarcus Cousins. Would you?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe they would have come to their senses and done that because I think it would have changed life for the Los Angeles Lakers.
I'd have went to the Celtics.
Okay, well, would Boston have finally seen fit to give up more of their draft pick haul that they have?
They got
maybe
a bunch.
At the trade deadline,
maybe
they would have. So my point is, what is Vlade Divac, the GM, thinking, except that it was reported by Chad Ford before the draft last year that he loved Buddy Hield. He would have taken him second overall behind Ben Simmons. Well, I think that's insane, and I think he's going to be proven wrong because of that. So I think this has high potential to go down as the worst trade in NBA history.
When I heard about it, I was like, wow. Because basically they gave away Boogie Cousins for a jar of jelly beans, a case of Gatorade, and 6 rolls of tape. That's what they gave away. They can't make up this value. Now, however you want to view Boogie, I say he's a top 3 big man in all of basketball. He, Anthony Davis, and Karl Anthony Towns. Now, all of them went to Kentucky, and how John Calipari only won 1 national championship with all that talent, but Skip, we'll debate that another day. So let's just say for the sake of argument, I say he's number 2. I would take him number 2 behind Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis is the best 4 in all of basketball.
I don't even know what big man is exactly because Anthony Davis is more of a power forward to me, but he's 6'10".
He's a 4.
Yeah.
He's a 4.
Okay. All right.
Boogie Cousins is a 4. Karl Anthony Towns is a 4. Dang in Minnesota plays the 5 spot. So let's just say they're all bunched up in there 1 through 3. So now you get a top 3, 4 power forward in all of basketball for Buddy Hield, Langston Galloway, a first-round pick, Tyreek. Now, Tyreek, he did win Rookie of the Year in Sacramento.
So you can sort of go back to your glory days maybe, but he's 27, he's beat up, his knee is balky.
Yeah, knees don't get healthier as you get older.
I love it.
Especially once you start having knee surgeries so early in your career. But Skip, here is this. Boogie's going to have to do some soul searching because he cost himself $30 million. He could have signed a 5-year, $209 million max contract. Now the max he can get is 5 for $179. That's $30 million in real dollars that he cost himself. He's going to have to look because you mentioned it, 6 coaches in 7 years. Look, I understand that George Karl have said some things and I can understand how he might rub some people the wrong way. But Paul Westphal, Malone, Keith Smart, Ty Corbin, it can't be all the coach's fault, Skip. It can't be.
I got it. Nope, I hear you, but I still say he was in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong franchise because the owner's dysfunctional to me, and I think Vlade has proven to be dysfunctional over time.
This was a terrible deal for the Kings because you can't get who in their right mind trades a top 10 talent. Who does that? No matter how dysfunctional he is, and I get it. Now, they say they were in a rebuilding mode. If you're in a rebuilding mode, Skip, you got to get him out of there because no matter how great a talent he is a legit 21-10 guy since he's come into the NBA.
Yep.
He's 27-11 last year, 27. Last 2 years, he's been all NBA.
Yep.
He's talented, no doubt. But if the Kings, in what they say they're doing, they're rebuilding, he had to go, Skip. If I'm redecorating my house and I got an ugly ottoman, I got to get it up out of there if I'm really redecorating the house. They really redecorating, Boogie had to go. This makes sense for the Pelicans for one reason. It shows that 23-year-old, the guy that just won the All-Star Game MVP, we're trying to win, and we're going to get you some help. Because at the end of the day, that's the guy you got to keep happy. Because if he walks, you can't give enough smoothies away in the Smoothie King Center to get people to come see that team play basketball. So the Pelicans, this was a no-brainer. Other than Anthony Davis, you could have had anybody else on my team but Boogie Cousins. They took Langston Galloway, they took the first, they took a second, they took Buddy Hield. That's a no-brainer if I'm the Pelicans.
I got it, but just remember this. DeMarcus Cousins had not tried to talk or act his way out of town. He had said nothing, but even recently, I'm committed for life to Sacramento. I love it here. This is my home. So it wasn't like he was trying to act out, as in act out of town, right?
Skip, the 16 texts. Think about what you're asking the Sacramento Kings to commit to. $209 million over 5 years.
Okay, that's fine.
Here's a guy that has 17 texts. Here's a guy that's lashed out against media members when they write something that he doesn't like. He had
just the Sacramento Bee columnist.
He had a profane-laced tirade after they beat Golden State.
He did.
So you're asking an awful lot for a team that knows him. Now, he's been in this organization for 6 years. They know Boogie Cousins frontwards and backwards, and they know things about him that we don't know because it never got out. So they're looking at this from an advantageous situation. And so for them, now I wouldn't have done it, Skip, because that kind of talent, I need more than that. You need to give me you shouldn't have a first-round pick until the year 2020. Because I need all of them. I need your 2018, 2019, 2020.
Okay.
I need those first-round draft picks if you're going to take this guy off my hands.
So if you're right, if Sacramento says we can't live with $209 million worth of DeMarcus Cousins going forward, then you should make it public you're done with him. Because they did not, all the way up until Friday and Saturday, they're telling the reporters at the All-Star game,
they're gonna keep him.
We're going to keep him. Leave us alone. It's over. We're going to go forward with DeMarcus. You can't play this game that way because...
It doesn't look good going forward now, Skip.
You lie to everybody. You lied to his face.
Yes.
You lied to DeMarcus' face. But in the end, you have to, if you're going to get rid of a talent this big, it doesn't hurt you to auction him off.
Yeah.
You just say, okay, we'll take the best offer on the table at close of business, which would be 3 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday. Come one, come all. We're open. I will bet you somebody would have come with a much better offer than what they took on All-Star Game Sunday night.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then you still want him in the West? Put him in the East.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Kings side of it. Let's examine the Pelicans side of it. DeMarcus Cousins will be joining a team with last night's All-Star Game MVP, Anthony Davis. Besides Russell Westbrook, Davis and Cousins are the only other players in the NBA to average at least 25 points and 10 rebounds this season. So, Skip, how will Boogie fit in with Anthony Davis?
I think well. It may be too late to figure it out this year, and they're a couple and a half games out of a playoff spot, but I think they have a chance to make the playoffs this year. The problem is, to borrow LeBron James' favorite expression, they're a little top-heavy right now because they lost their middle. They lost their two guards. I don't know who the two guard is. They have a quality point guard, Drew Holiday.
Yep.
And they have two really good fours, or whatever you want to call them, although I think DeMarcus is more of a 5 than a 4. He can play the 5.
Right.
So I think they'll play off each other pretty well. They didn't play with each other, obviously, at Kentucky, but they got the blue-blooded sort of connection. And I don't know, is Coach Cal going to be in the mix here pretty soon? I don't know. I'd like to see it. He could coach these two guys. So will he be there next year? Is that a possibility? Maybe.
Well, we saw how it worked out with him with the Nets, Skip. I think he's a college lifer. I think he's a college guy. Maybe the second time around will be better. We see that a lot with NFL coaches. You know, they start out and they don't do well in their first stop.
Right.
Maybe Coach Cal in their second stop, with second stint in the NBA, would be a lot better. But I just don't see it.
So they gave up Tyreek and they gave up Hield. So they gave up two shooters, two guard types, combo guard types. But Buddy Hield in the end was, again, I thought he became a liability. He plays no defense.
Yes.
He has no two-point game at all. He's just a three-point
Right.
shooter. So do you miss that much? I don't think so. But you're going to have to go with E'Twaun Moore, Solomon Hill. I don't know.
Eunice.
It's not great.
No.
But they're saying they're going to trade Terrence Jones. Maybe they could get a quality shooter back for Terrence Jones,
Yes.
who's been pretty good for them. But just the quality of those two together. And I think their personalities, Anthony Davis seemed like he was jubilant last night that they got him. So I'm going to figure they're friendly enough and that DeMarcus will share the basketball enough that they'll be a good tandem. And I think this team has a real shot to make the playoffs. So let's see what happens down the stretch.
Yeah, I believe they'll make I'm going to give them the 8th seed. They're 2.5 games behind the Nuggets, 25 games to play. I believe they can make that up. With these two, I mean, you got two top 10 players on your roster. Now, they play very similar. Both can put the ball on the floor and get to the hoop. Both can shoot the three. Boogie Cousins are averaging 5 threes a game. He's shooting 36%.
That works.
Both guys can play with their back against the basket. So they are very, very similar. Both are 25 and 10 guys. Skip, I would be shocked if they don't become the 8th seed because they're just too talented at just those two positions. And really, one guy can change your fortunes. Now you have 2 top 10 players on the same roster with True Holiday. I like Coach Gentry. I believe they get it done. But Skip, moving forward, now if they get a 2-guard and pair him with these guys, with True Holiday running, because Boogie is 26, Anthony Davis is 23 years of age. 23. And so if you think, Skip, how do I keep coming back here? Karl Anthony Towns is 21. Anthony Davis is 23. Boogie Cousins is 26. And Coach Cal only won 1 championship? I didn't even mention Bledsoe. I didn't even mention Booker. I didn't mention Terrence Jones. My bad, Skip. I just had to.
Remember DeMarcus's team with Wall and Bledsoe.
Oh, Skip, I didn't mention
DeAndre
Wall.
Liggins.
Skip.
Okay, but they lost in the Elite 8 to West Virginia, just for the record, 73-66.
I wonder how many championships would Coach Cal have had? I'm not Coach Cal. Coach K, if he had those guys. They put him on Mount Rushmore beside the president.
Okay, but some of those guys he would not have wanted to have tried to coach. I will bet you.
You're probably right.
Yep.
But Skip, I think they make the 8th seed. I think they're going to catch the Nuggets. With 25 games to go, with Boogie and AD in the lineup, with True Holiday running the point, I believe they catch them.
Okay, last point, just to be fair. And again, I'm a Cousins fan. But George Karl's point was always, as he tried to run DeMarcus out of town, out of Sacramento when he was coaching him, is that position has become virtually extinct in the NBA. And now you have 2 big men who can't really run the floor. So you can't do any run and shoot Golden State. You can't do that. You can't spread the floor.
No.
You have 2 that you have to play off of inside out.
Well, that's their game, Skip.
Okay.
I mean, you have what you have.
Okay, so you're going to have to play slow and you're going to have to play half court.
Okay.
But it'll work.
Yes.
There are different ways to skin that cat. And you can skin it this way.
They don't have 3-point shooters. They can't play like the Rockets. They can't play like the Warriors. They can't play like the Cavaliers where you spread the LeBron and Kyrie goes down the lane and they dish and kick.
Even San Antonio does that.
That's not who they are. You got 2 top 10 big men.
You do.
You're going to have to play through them. And they're going to pound you on the boards now.
Yep.
You better send a lot of guys to the board because Anthony Davis is going to get 10, 11 a night. Boogie is going to get 10, 11 a night.
Yep, and it's 2 stars.
So the final thought is, will DeMarcus then choose to stay in New Orleans after a year?
He's going to stay.
Because his agent has said all along, if you trade us, we will not stay where you trade us to. Will that change now?
Skip. If he stays, it's 5 years, 179.
And if he leaves,
it's 5 years, 139. Now, he just cost himself $30 million.
Yeah.
You think he's going to cost himself $40 million?
I would say no. And I would say, again, I know Alvin Gentry, and again, he's not a dynamic leader type. And remember, Alvin, in his, what has it been, like 14 years ago, he's only had 1 winning season. It was in Phoenix, right, with Steve Nash. So I don't know if he's the answer here. But I think DeMarcus is going to like New Orleans because I think he'll like playing with Anthony.
I don't know any player in the NBA is taking $40 million less. Carmelo wouldn't take $20 million less to go to Chicago. So you think a player's going to take $40 million less?
That's a lot of money to leave on the table. No mercy. The biggest question going into last night's NBA All-Star game was whether Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant would be on the court together. They only played 82 seconds together, but KD threw an alley-oop to Westbrook in the first quarter. After the play, the West bench gave the two a standing ovation. After the game, Westbrook was asked about playing with Durant. Let's take a listen.
I'm sorry to break this great atmosphere, but in the first quarter you kind of made peace with Kevin Durant or whatever happened. Can you take us back into the first quarter?
Oh, that was a question?
Yeah. Sorry, but the question is, first quarter, you and Kevin Durant, you pass the ball to each other, kind of have some fun. It's all over now.
Yeah, he threw a lob. That's all that happened. He just threw a lob. It's basketball.
Yeah.
That's it.
No high fives, nothing.
Did you see it?
I mean, I was very happy in the draft.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Y'all have a great time. I'll see you guys in the second half of the season.
Shannon, what did you make of KD and Westbrook's interaction?
Oh, this thing is real. Now, Kevin Durant can say this is fake news. He can say the media is trying to make something between him and Russ, but this is real. They went out of their way to avoid each other. Now, on the court, hey, pass me the ball to get it. Hey, that was a great story. But, Skip, this is real. Because if you remember, when Kevin Durant won the MVP, he saved Russell Westbrook for last. And it was heartfelt. He said, Russ, you push me. You challenge me to become a better player because you compete so hard every day. And it's forced me to become a better player. I view you as a brother. I love you. He also said the media tried to come between us, but we've done a great job of not letting that happen. And when Kevin Durant made the most important decision of his life, the guy that he looked at as a little brother, the guy that had helped him and challenged him to become the player that he became, he couldn't tell him personally. He sent him a text. And Russell Westbrook hasn't, and I don't think will forgive KD for that. Now, if you look closely on the weekend, KD's mom and Russell's mom took a picture together. They're like, but you didn't see KD and Russ take a picture together. Skip, this is real. This is not manufactured. Did you hear what he said? He said he threw a pass, I caught a lob. There was no high five. Did you see one? You think this is over because he threw me a lob? This is not over. This is not going to be over until I say it's over. So this is not manufactured. This is not fake. The new term now is fake news. This is real, Skip. That young man that was sitting at that podium, he disliked the way Kevin handled the situation. And then he lied about it and put Russell in a very uncomfortable situation and said, I talked to Russ. And then Russ I found out like y'all did. He sent me a text. So Russell is feeling some type of way. Kevin is starting to get the sense. There's no sense in me trying to make peace with this. I'm going to be Kevin Durant. I need to move on about my way because Russell is going on about his business. Skip, it's not going over anything. This is not going to end anytime soon. This might not end until after their careers and they sit down and have a conversation. They realize they're in their late 30s and 40s. And it's like, why are we still upset at each other? I made a decision. Yeah, I could have handled the situation differently, but we're mad about what? Skip, this is real. And it's not going. Steve Kerr said, I'm going to play all four, put my four guys in at one time. I'd have bet everything I got, Joy, everything you got, everything, Skip, you got, that Russell Westbrook wasn't going to be that fifth guy. This is real. Steve Kerr knew it was real. Everybody knows it was real. They're trying to clap. You see them, they standing around and clapping. Yeah. Russell like, man, y'all missed me with that. Hey, tell Kevin Durant, catch me outside. How about that?
I hear what you're saying, and I think you're half right. And I'll tell you in just a moment why only half is right. But before I get there, I would want to say to you that to your first point about they push each other.
Yes.
I thought they pushed each other on the court last night because both of them had really good games. I thought either one of those two guys, Westbrook or Durant, should have been the MVP over Anthony Davis.
That triple-dub KD got how impressed you.
He got a triple-double. I know, and it was they didn't make a big deal of it on TV, but he got a triple-double.
I didn't know
10 and 10 he got.
I looked at the box. I didn't know he had a triple-double until I looked at the box
I didn't
score.
either.
And I'm like, dude had a triple.
So he stole a little of Russ's thunder.
Yes.
He got a triple-double, and Russ didn't. But Russ had an incredible salvo at the end of the third quarter. He scored 15 points in a minute and 18 stretch. And they were down 2 to the East at that point, and it put them up 5 at the quarter. Then he comes out early in the fourth and hits another 3.
Yep.
He hit 7 threes in the game.
Yep.
And that put him up 8, and that was the turning point in the game.
Yes.
So I can make a strong case that Russ should have been the MVP.
Yes.
And he did have a much higher degree of difficulty because he made 7 out of 13 threes.
Right.
Anthony Davis made his first shot from 21 feet. I'll give him that. And after that, every point he scored was a layup or a dunk.
Yep.
Alley-oop, 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 or offensive rebound putback. Really? Okay, so you scored 52. You shattered Wilt's record of 42. Russ was right on the heels of that, too. But remember, Russ didn't play down the stretch the last 5.5 minutes of the game.
Right.
He watched. He watched garbage time, and he watched Anthony pile up to 52 points.
Yep.
Okay, now back to your point. I believe this is a one-sided feud right now. I think Kevin wants to give it up. I think he wants to give in. Remember, he was the one who willingly and happily threw the lob to Russ, right? Because he saw it coming, he got the pass, then he immediately, it was almost like a hockey assist, boom, right to Russ. And it seemed to make Kevin very happy. And I got to give Russ one point here that sort of deletes, or diffuses the argument a little bit. But as they went to the other end, if we could see that, he did pat him like he thanked him for the pass. He patted him on the backside a little bit. I think he got him on like the hamstring, but it was kind of like a quasi butt tap, like he was just saying, thank you for the pass.
Right.
But here we go. He just, I don't know if you can see
I mean, when he
this.
made it, he pointed
Here
like,
it is, here it is. You can barely see it. It's just a little.
Yeah, it was like,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just
you're
trying to
back
be
there,
fair.
Yeah, but I ain't really trying to get a whole lot of touching
Okay,
going on. I mean,
but when
might wanna punch
the
you.
timeout was called
Yes.
and they go to the huddle,
Yes.
then everybody else tried to defuse it.
Yeah.
Oh, and Steph pours water on Kevin's head like in celebration. And
you know that they
let's-
pulled nothing on Russ?
Nope, nobody did anything to Russ. You know why? That was new school. That was new NBA. Players loving each other on different. Do we talk about fraternizing with players?
Right.
Russ wants no part of fraternizing,
Nope.
especially with Kevin Durant.
No.
And Russ is old school in that he doesn't do touchy-feely. He doesn't do forgive and forget. That bridge was burned to the ground. And when he posted that picture of the cupcakes,
Yeah.
and that was their pet expression
Yes.
for soft players,
Yeah.
cupcake, he believes Kevin is a cupcake, and he's not going to forgive and forget that he was a cupcake
Right.
to Russell, because Russell went out of his way to almost humble himself and beg Kevin, please stay.
What do I need to do?
Yeah, how do I get better for you? How do I make your life easier? How do I make you happier?
Right.
And he got a text. Now, maybe in today's conversing, a text is talking. It's not to me, but
Not someone that you view as a brother.
Yeah.
If Kevin had not said what he
Right.
said at that press conference when he won the MVP,
Yeah.
Skip, I'd have been cool with that. But you're the one that laid
Yeah.
it out there and made it seem like you and Wes was so cool.
Right.
Y'all were down.
Right.
I'm gonna be here for you. He's my little brother.
Okay.
That's how I view him.
Well, so Russ, off the Mountain Dew ad that he does, it's all about don't do they, do you, and he does him.
Yes.
Russ does Russ. And before the game, I think you pointed out, but Russ went to the other end and shot by himself.
Yes.
And he wanted no part of even sharing the same half court with Kevin Durant. Now, you can say it was just Russ being Russ, but no, he just didn't want to associate. And they put their lockers as far apart as they could get them in the locker room because Russ wants no part. So, again.
If necessary, Russ would have got dressed at Tulane.
Yeah.
And then had
No,
the bus into the game.
I agree.
And just,
So
he wanted no parts of that.
I hark back to when you talk about it's real. I hark back to a week from Saturday night ago in Oklahoma City. You saw that game on the Saturday night game.
Yes.
Hey, when Russ, when they rallied and he made a quick charge at the Warriors,
Yeah.
obviously, and he's yelling at him as they went to the benches during a timeout. I'm coming,
Yeah.
I'm coming, and he meant I'm coming for you.
And KD's like, so what?
Yeah, so what?
So what? So
And then,
what?
Then if you saw the incident between Robertson and KD
Right.
on the breakaway layup, remember? And it was
Yeah.
it was a goaltend. And they got into it and kind of bumped foreheads.
Yes.
Russell got away with rushing in and
pushing
shoving Kevin completely out of the picture. Wow.
Yeah.
Really? You got away with that. But that showed me from deep down, he wants to shove him completely, literally out of the picture. And he did.
I think if you watch, and I saw a lot of the interactions, it was basically Russ and James Harden. The way Russ looks at it, if you're not my teammate, and I'm not I'm talking about really, really down with you, I ain't fooling with you. Now, you saw him and James Harden had great interaction. He has a great relationship with James
Sure he
Harden.
does, yeah.
Because he knows James would have loved to have stayed, but for whatever reason, circumstances, ownership, whatever, hey, James Harden.
James didn't leave on his own volition.
Right.
Yeah.
But for Kevin to take the stance that he took, that says, when you, first of all, when you win an award and you take, not all, teammates, but when you take time to address someone personally, obviously people view that as, okay, we got a special relationship. And Kevin says, we got a special relationship. This is my little brother. He pushes me. The player that I'm becoming and that I became was because of what this dude does every day in practice. I need to keep up with that or stay ahead of that.
Okay.
So when you get an opportunity to make the biggest decision of your life, you leave your little brother out. You leave the one person that you said, you know what, he had a lot to what I became in the NBA. You leave him out. You send him a text as if, oh, I'm leaving. Russ is not forgiving. Russ is one of those guys. And Russ, for me, the way I look at it, I try not to burn any bridges that I possibly might have to travel back across. Russell says, I give a damn about that. Katie, you can kick rock. I don't care if you play in Golden State. I don't care if you go wherever you go. Right now, for the foreseeable future, I don't see how this thing ends. Now, maybe their moms can bridge the gap and say, son, the way you guys acting like high schoolers. Y'all too big. I mean, he made a decision, you made your decision, but you guys have been close for too long to let this happen. The moms are going to play a role in this, I believe, Skip. But right now, knowing Russ the way I don't know him, but seeing him and watching his body language and see how he plays, Skip, he's stubborn. He's stubborn, and that's what makes him great, and that's what great athletes are. All great athletes are stubborn. Because when they've been told they couldn't do something, they persevered. Sure. Because they could have easily okay, you're right, I can't do it. But that's not Russ. Russ says, I'm going to the basket, Skip. He's going to the basket. Russ says, I'm going to pull up from 25. Russ is going to pull up from 25.
So, to your point, if the moms had been outside the locker room last night after the game and they had tried to bring the two together and said, hug this out, Kevin would have done it.
Yes.
Kevin would have done it because he's... What does he have to lose here? He's playing for Golden State, right? So he would love for Russ to say, it's okay. I don't mind anymore that you left me high and dry. Let's hug it out. Russell ain't going to do it.
Parents know their kids. I know each of my kids, what they will and what they won't do if I were. Russell's mom wouldn't even ask because she already know what her son's going to do. She already knows.
Yep.
Well, that would be an awkward situation. It's probably less about the fact that he left and more about the fact that he didn't have a conversation with them.
Yes,
he didn't have to be a part of his decision. He's a grown man.
No.
But have the conversation.
Don't treat me like media. Don't treat me like some other, the 13th guy on the bench. If I'm supposed to be your boy, if I'm supposed to be your younger brother, and this is you gave me the same courtesy you gave Enes Kanter.
That's true.
Or Steven Adams.
Yeah.
Bro, we've been in this thing for the longest.
Yeah, just have the conversation.
No mercy.
Let's talk about Saturday's NBA dunk contest. Pacers guard Glenn Robinson III won, but it was widely considered to be an underwhelming competition. Back in 2009, LeBron James said he would, quote, preliminary put his name in for the 2010 dunk contest, but he has never competed in one. Joined by Chris Broussard, but
Skip, baby.
Skip, I'll start with you. Why hasn't LeBron ever competed in a dunk contest?
I will get to my reason in just a moment, but I hope you both could agree with me. It's a crying shame that LeBron James, in 14 NBA seasons, hasn't stooped to compete in a single dunk contest. I
don't agree.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. But in a small but significant way, this has tainted his legacy that you already call a Mount Rushmore legacy.
Yes.
Because he owed this league at least one dunk contest.
Skip.
Yes! Let me finish. Now, you guys are going to get to go in about 5 minutes. When I
Next segment.
LeBron James,
segment, he taking 5 of them.
LeBron James is an iconic player, obviously, and this used to be and has been for many years an iconic event. And LeBron, obviously, is one of the great in-game dunkers this league has ever seen. So, all the great prior to LeBron, all the great superstar leapers in this game have all participated in dunk contests. Let's start with Michael Jordan. He was in 3 and won 2. Let's go to Dominique. the human highlight film. He was in 5 and won 2. Dr. J, 3 and won 1. Vince Carter won a dunk contest. It was his only one, but he won it.
He's
Kobe,
the greatest dunk of all time.
okay, Kobe participated in one, and he won it. Blake Griffin won, and he won it. The great Clyde Drexler, a top 50 player, 5 dunk contests without even winning a single one. So he just kept going back and back and back, and I respect that.
What about David Thompson? You ain't even mentioned him.
Okay, well, go ahead. Do you want to pile on?
Was Doc in 2 NBA ones?
No, he won
2
the ABA.
He won
the first
He was
one,
34
the inaugural.
when
Okay.
he was in the NBA.
Okay,
Yes.
but he won
He was old. He
the
was
first ever
A
was
young
in the
Doc would have
NBA.
won
Okay.
that. Yeah.
So
No
in the
offense to
end,
Larry.
LeBron has 1 year of I'm going back 5 years ago. He promised he would do the following year's dunk contest, and then he backed out.
Did he promise?
Then 4, yes, he did.
hinted.
On
Or
TNT,
didn't he
he
hint?
promised.
He hinted.
No,
Said he
he
might.
promised.
He
He
said,
said,
"I might."
he said, I
Next
will
year.
do it next year, and
That's
he
not a
backed out.
promise.
That was a promise. And then he tweeted 4 years ago, I think it was before the game in Houston, dunk contest, question mark, just to tease everybody.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he didn't do the dunk contest. And here's my theory. He has always been afraid to do the dunk contest because he was afraid he would damage his brand, his Nike brand, his Air LeBron brand, if you will, because I think he was intimidated by the prospect of having to come up with new dunks, different dunks, more inventive dunks. But if LeBron James had merely stepped on the floor, he would have won that dunk contest. Yes, he would have. I don't care what you say.
So you would have
He's
been,
LeBron
just,
James.
if he wins just on name, that would have been cool. with
Yes,
you.
and I also believe that LeBron has always been afraid of the solo spotlight. We've seen it late in games when he doesn't want to have to go to the free throw line and avoids it because you have to stand there by yourself and make 1 or 2 to tie or win or take a game to overtime. So this is scary. There's a lot of pressure because it got so big that it became iconic, and I think he feared having to be in a spotlight and having to live up to his legacy, which was already, by the time he got to this league, he had a huge legacy coming out of Akron. And I believe he ran from the dunk contest because he could do nothing but lose it. That's the way I felt like he viewed it.
Go ahead.
LeBron does not view himself as a creative dunker. LeBron is a power dunker.
Yes.
LeBron saw where this was heading, is that you either had to jump over someone or something. And LeBron says, nah, that's not me. And when you look at it, Skip, once a guy get past year 4 or 5, it's over. Because if he'd have done it like 19, 20, 21, we had that real bounce, no problem. But once he got to year 5, year 6, he wasn't going to do it. So when it's all said and done, and we're trying to evaluate LeBron and Michael, are we going to hold those 2 dunk contest wins?
That's going to be the difference.
Yeah.
Well, I will.
No, you.
Yeah,
I know
will.
you will, Skip.
Yeah, I just did.
But
And
this, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. And plus, the thing that I love most about LeBron, and you will like this also, he didn't succumb to the pressure to enter the dunk contest.
Oh,
Because
so he's
Skip-
above it all.
He's above it.
He's better than the NBA.
The thing I say-
oh, great. I'm impressed.
We know he's his own man. I mean, guys in his circle weren't pushing him to go to Miami. They didn't really want that, but
No.
he's his own man. He did it. We know he's hired his
Now,
friends to run his
apologize for
business.
all you said, Joy Taylor, Miss Petty.
Now, this is what I'll say, and it's to Shannon's point. LeBron's probably lower half of the top 10 game dunkers of
Yeah.
all time, or maybe not quite top 10, like top 15 game dunkers of all time. Game dunking doesn't necessarily translate
No.
to great dunk contests. When have we seen LeBron do anything but the windmill
And the power
and maybe
twist.
a reverse?
Right.
Like and you don't see guys who are big, cumbersome like that win the dunk contest.
Did you
for the
just
most
call LeBron cumbersome?
He's a big guy.
Wow.
He doesn't move, hold on. He doesn't move with the grace of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant.
Really?
Does
Did we
he?
get that on tape?
Yeah, get it on tape.
Wow.
Vince Carter.
Wow.
He's 6'8".
Wow,
He's
the
6'8",
truth
260.
comes out. I wouldn't even say that.
No,
I
he-
would say he moves with the grace of Michael
he
Jordan.
does not. He does not. Jordan can do the same dunk as another guy, and it looks better because Jordan, the way he moves. Same with Vince
So you're
Carter.
saying Jordan's more athletic than LeBron?
I'm saying he's more graceful than LeBron.
I think that translates to athleticism.
First of all,
And I think the only way for LeBron to win the dunk contest would be, like you said, he'd have to come up with stuff like Dwight Howard did. Dwight Howard did stuff we've never seen, ultra creative, throwing it off the glass, bouncing it, tipping it off the glass, catching it, dunking it.
Well, he went up and got a cupcake. I don't know if that was a
that was
statement
Gerald
on
Green.
himself.
That was Gerald Green.
I thought it was Dwight.
What, blew out the cupcake?
That was Gerald Green.
Dwight.
Dwight threw it off the back of the backboard, jumped from out of bounds, caught it, and dunked. Like, now maybe LeBron can do that stuff. I don't know. But that's the only way he could win. He's not gonna do dunks like Vince Carter.
Yeah.
Or Jordan. He just doesn't move like those guys.
Skip, it's props now. Everything is jumping over somebody or something. And LeBron is not finna take the ball, the guy spinning around on the hoverboard, and take the ball out of his hand and dunk it. He's not gonna do what Aaron Gordon, catch the ball and put it up under his legs and dunk it.
So
That's
you
not
guys
what
are
he is.
saying LeBron James is athletically challenged,
No,
right?
Nobody's
I think you
saying
just
that.
did.
He's one of the greatest athletes that
Well,
we've seen in the
maybe
game.
the
Then he should be
But
able to
a
win
big
a
part
dunk
of his
contest.
athleticism is his strength, his size. That does
Creativity.
exactly.
Creativity.
If you think he moves like Michael Jordan, I'm sorry. Come on.
Skip, can you? Skip,
Vince Carter.
I can draw a little bit. I can outdraw you. I bet you I can. Cause see the creative side of you. See what I'm saying?
What does that mean?
Because LeBron is not a creative dunker. He is a Dominique Wilkins. He's more of a power dunker.
He's a power,
That's
and
why
his dunks are great in games.
Yes.
And maybe he can do that type of stuff Dwight can do. I don't know.
LeBron
But
James,
obviously-
in his first 5, 6, 7 years in this league, because he started when he was 18, until he was 25, for 7 years, he avoided the dunk contest that he could have won in a walk. I'm
What
sorry.
what
He is a
great dunk-
power leaper. He can get his head and shoulders
did
above the
Sean
rim.
Kemp ever win a dunk contest?
He
was a greater game
funny you
power
asked me
dunker
that.
than LeBron.
And
he didn't.
Dominique-
He was in it, but he didn't win.
I once
Dominique and
judged
Jordan.
one that he won.
He didn't.
Sean
He never
Kemp.
won the NBA
Not
one.
that, no, but it's a funny story, but I did. In Dallas, I judged one that.
What was it,
Sean
high
Kemp-
school?
No, he was in junior college.
Look, he was a great, but he didn't
Well,
win
you
the
asked me,
NBA.
and I just
he
told
didn't win
you.
the NBA dunk contest. Though.
And it's
I think LeBron won one in high school.
It's the creative side. Skip, you see how these guys. You see what
Creative?
Yes.
He can be as creative as anybody.
No.
He would have to practice it. He's afraid that he couldn't live up to his reputation and his image, and you know it, and I know it.
I don't know it. I mean,
and he could have. You're saying he's
if he
not
didn't want to sit there
baloney.
and spend the time to create
Thinking about-
things
look,
like
let me
Dwight
see.
Howard did, that's
I need a
shame
cape.
in
Let me
that.
put a cape. Well,
Yeah,
Dwight's already done the cape, so I can't be Superman.
You know
I need
what?
to put a crown and a cape on my head to be the king and dunk the basketball.
You know
if
what?
LeBron went underneath his legs like Kobe, is it going to look as good as it looked with Kobe?
Yeah,
no,
it would.
because Kobe.
It would, especially before he was 25. Before he was 25. And you know what?
And
LeBron
he's bigger.
could.
Very few big people have won. Only like 5 guys 6'8" or taller have won the
Okay,
dunk contest.
could LeBron have won Saturday night's
disadvantage.
dunk contest? Yes. He would have won in a walk.
Yeah, some
could
years
he
you
have
could
done
probably
what
win,
Glenn
but that
Robinson
wasn't
III
very-
did?
I
Could he
don't
go
know.
down the baseline and just sky over 3 people and slam it left
I
hand?
don't know. LeBron's
Yeah.
a one-footed leaper.
So?
No,
that
no,
makes
no,
you
no,
not-
So is Glenn
no, no.
Robinson.
He can
that
go
makes
from
a difference.
he can go from further out, Skip. But when you're a 1 foot
You guys are just shaming him as an athlete.
no,
He's a one-footed leaper. I've seen him leap off 2 feet.
Dominique
But
Wilkins
he-
is a
most
2
of
foot
his
dunker.
dunks
LeBron
are
just
off
fell
1
off
foot.
Mount Rushmore. He
No,
just
he's
fell
on
on his
Mount
behind.
Rushmore. dunks?
This is
No,
about
because everything you're saying about
Mount
it.
Rushmore is about basketball.
Oh,
Skip. Dunking has the best dunkers. Here's
Oh,
a newsflash: the best dunkers aren't in the NBA. They're guys that can jump through the rafters.
Yeah, you see the white guy with the jeans
shame
on?
some of the NBA
You see
players.
the white guy, the white guy with
But
the
that
jeans
has
on
nothing
that
to
got
do with
up
playing.
and dunked over people.
You know what?
Did Magic win the dunk contest?
Hey,
Did Bird win the dunk
No,
contest?
but they can't jump. I said superstar leapers. Did Kobe? Yes. Is
That
Kobe
doesn't that-
is Kobe less athletic than LeBron, or more athletic than
no.
LeBron? Or
He's
what?
more graceful, in my view. He's
Really?
more graceful. LeBron is like a power.
See,
LeBron is Earl Campbell. Kobe is Tony
what?
Dorsett.
Michael
There's a
Jordan
difference.
and Michael Jordan is Barry Sanders. You see,
Come
we
on.
getting that
And,
different.
and when you said the best dunkers are not in the NBA, you brought up David Thompson. He was the greatest dunker in the world.
There
at
are
the
guys
time.
that can do 720s that don't play in
Okay,
the NBA.
Yeah.
I've seen them. I see
Yeah,
all
you-
the YouTube. But you know what? They can't do these things. They can't get up as high as David Thompson was getting. You want to talk? Did you see him
There are
play?
guys that
Skip.
can
You want to talk about
sky that can't play
Skywalker?
ball.
Skip. The guys are doing 720s. 720, not a 360. 7 whoop.
All right. So LeBron could have done that at 18,
LeBron can't do no
19,
720.
20. Yes, he can.
Could he? I can't sit here and say for sure he couldn't have come up with creative stuff like that. I'm saying what I see. I've never
You
seen him
know
do
he could
anything
have.
other than windmills, reverse,
tomahawk.
throw it off the glass. That's not winning you a dunk contest.
Yes, it
now.
would.
Throwing it off the glass and catching it.
Okay, so you're telling me.
Everybody can do that in the dunk contest.
Right now, he can't leap over the 3 people that Glenn Robinson III leaped over.
No, because that's not how he dunks.
Wow,
That's not
I did
how he
not.
jumps.
Oh, I've lost a lot of respect for LeBron.
You'll get over it, though.
I've
But
learned a lot.
when LeBron-
not that athletic, not that graceful.
Don't put words in my mouth.
He's a
I said he's
1
not
foot
as graceful.
leaper.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
He is.
Wow.
Look at most of his dunk. He can dunk
Wow.
off 2, obviously. He can jump off 2 here
Well,
and there.
it's
but
pretty
he's mainly
obvious
a
at this
1
point
foot.
in his
LeBron
career.
is laying in his bed at night, and he's next to Savannah. He's not thinking
He's
about
not
no dunk
thinking about
contest.
it.
Yes,
Like,
he
But
is.
it's good to know that
It's eating at
that
him.
will keep him off your Mount Rushmore just because he
Definitely.
wasn't
Well, I
in the
told you,
top.
Skip.
small but
He's number
significant.
2.
Well, look, like
He
the dunk
didn't-
contest is for the fans, and that's just
Okay,
not
so
really that
wait.
important.
It's not. It's not. Well, keep buying the
It
sneakers.
is. That's what it's for.
You know what? Just for that, I'm
That's
going
what
to
it's
order
for, for
another
the
pair of
fans.
sneakers.
So what did Michael Jordan do? He took off from the free throw line and did the iconic boom, right?
Now,
Okay.
Zach
Did you
LaVine
ever
is doing
see-
that
Are
between
you-
his
are you-
legs.
wait a second.
Zach LaVine does it between his legs.
Okay, and
Mike
you tell me that
Conley, the
LeBron
triple
at
jumper.
18 couldn't have done that from the free throw line?
Absolutely.
He's 6'9".
I don't know that he could have.
No mercy. Welcome back. Meta World Peace of the Lakers is with us.
And let me jump in and say, I'm a NBA nut. I think I qualify as that. And I must tell you that over the last 4 years, the All-Star game has become, even for me, unwatchable because they won't even play defense in the fourth quarter. Back in the good old days, at least the greats of the game would say, let's suck it up and take it up a notch and at least get after it in the fourth quarter, especially if the game was fairly close.
Right.
And those days are gone. And this game is about to go the way of the Pro Bowl in the NFL, where fans just after a while, it's just you just can't stay with it. Your thoughts?
It's horrible. It's horrible. You know, as a fan of the game, you want to see the defense. And there got to be a point in time where, as an all-star, you take it personal because you want to be the best. You know, and you got to try to get stops. You know, you got to try to push the ball and get back on defense. And, you know, right now, I watched the game yesterday. I was at a restaurant, and I came out and saw the score was 180. You know, I just started laughing. You know, I'm like, wow, 180 to 170.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Because all they do is shoot threes now.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Shoot threes from half court, layups and dunks. I mean, think about this. Anthony Davis scored 52 points and didn't shoot a free throw. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, come on now. I get it. You want to showcase your ability, but you can play some defense. I mean, you can't have 70 dunks. You can't have 40 layups.
Uncontested.
Yes,
Yeah,
I mean, come on now. It's really getting like the Pro Bowl where guys were basically playing two-hand touch and they almost cut it out. Now, and then they tried to jazz it up where you could select, you know, cross conferences. But they got to do something about this, Skip. This is getting out of hand.
Some of the players should bring it. They should maybe have different rules where 2 plays that you pick, maybe the media and the fans can pick 2 plays that's going to get in the game and play hard and not be intimidated by a Kevin Durant saying, hey, you're playing too hard, or James Harden saying, hey, you're playing too hard. No, I'm going at your head, and you got to bring it, or it is what it is.
Is this an agent issue where the agents are saying don't get hurt, so don't try anything stupid on defense?
Has anybody ever got hurt at an All-Star game?
I've never seen anybody get hurt at an All-Star game. The guys are professional where they're not going to, you know, run somebody down in the fast break and, you know, low bridge. And they're not going to do that. But as far as sliding your feet, staying in front of your man, post denying, you know, running out to the three-point, you can do all that stuff.
Right.
So give us your quick thought on Westbrook versus Durant. How do you see it in the bigger picture unfolding from this point forward?
Well, I like what Durant did because Durant said, hey, I want to win. You know, and he did what it takes for him to win. He wanted to get out of OKC. And Russell should be happy. Now you get a chance to show what you're really worth. And he's showing it. So they should be happy with each other. They should be able to call each other on the phone and not have this little argument.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Let's just say for the sake of argument, you and I are best boys.
Right.
You and I like brothers.
Right.
You make a decision that's in the best interest of you. You gonna text me or you gonna give me the heads up, say, hey, bro, I made a move.
I mean, we're boys. I'm probably going to call you. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a text.
Just a text.
And if it was just a text, that's, you know. that's
Because you remember during the MVP speech, Kevin Durant said, Russell is like my brother.
Right.
He pushed me so hard to make me a better player, better man every day.
Right.
And I thank you.
Right.
So basically, when it came time for him to get a new job, he treated him like Steven Adams and Enes Kanter.
Oh, yeah. And you should treat everybody the same, you know, if that's really.
No, you treat everybody fair. You don't treat them all the same.
Right, fairly, right?
So how do you see Westbrook as a player? Describe him in your view.
To me, he's the best player in the league. Anthony Davis was the best to me last year, but what Russell is doing this year, He is the best player in the NBA. I say Anthony Davis is second.
LeBron retire?
LeBron's he's great.
Yeah, he retired from the dunk contest.
Stop, Skip. Stop it, Skip.
He's unathletic. He can't do the dunk contest.
He should, and they should throw away all the props in the dunk contest.
But that's where they're headed. That's
horrible.
It's all you either jump over someone or something.
I can't jump, and I never was in a dunk contest, but I like to watch it. They need to get rid of the props, move everybody off the floor, and just throw your own alley-oops and, get it back to the old days.
That would work. Then LeBron might have a chance.
No, LeBron moved on, Skip. Yeah. You need to move on with that, too.
No. He just fell off Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. And look, it's Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook above LeBron, too.
He's still great. I'm just saying, I don't think he's like the best in the league.
Nope, he's not.
He
Russell
is.
Westbrook is. You just heard it from the man.
No mercy. According to a report from CBS Sports, Tony Romo is open to, quote, massaging his current contract in order to provide salary cap relief for a contending team. Last week, ESPN's Ed Werder said Romo expected to be released, not traded by the Cowboys. Skip, how will this play out?
You go get look at it, you happy. Look at it, you was up there playing like 30 rounds of golf a day, huh?
I was, actually.
Yeah, I know.
Badly. All that. My mind has not changed, and my fear is only growing that Jerry Jones is going to keep Tony Romo and replace Dak in the starting lineup in game number 1 with Tony Romo. I'm standing by in fact, I feel more strongly and have greater fear than ever that is about to happen. What Tony Romo's camp is doing now is leaking story after story about his wish list or his willingness to restructure his deal to put more and more pressure on Jerry to keep him. That's what I think's happening here because, trust me, at the very top of his wish list, he wants to stay in Dallas and be the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, all things being equal, that would be ideal.
That is correct. And remember, Jerry continues to, there was a big story last week. We were on vacation, but early in the week, he talked again about how much he believes in Tony Romo as a Super Bowl quarterback. And Jerry's biggest fear is that Tony will go elsewhere and win a Super Bowl. And his biggest desire in life right now is for Tony to stay in Dallas and win a Super Bowl for Jerry Jones. And I'm going to remind you of something that I thought a lot about while I was on vacation that we missed the point of. There's only one owner in the history of the National Football League who fired a coach who had just won back-to-back Super Bowls, right? Mm-hmm. That's Jerry Jones. Think about what he did. He fired Jimmy Johnson after he won 2 straight Super Bowls. That's what this man is made of. When he believes in something or doesn't believe in something, he doesn't care what, he's got Russell Westbrook in him. We were just talking about that guy. Well, he's that guy too in a very different package. He does not care what Shannon Sharpe thinks or Joy Taylor thinks or certainly what I think. He's going to do what he believes deep down in his heart of hearts that he has to do.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Given a choice, win the Super Bowl with Tony Romo as the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys or going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Jerry has to choose one.
He has to choose one?
He has to choose one.
He's already in one.
No,
He's got
I'm just
it.
saying. No, I'm just saying. Prior to him going in, if
he'd win a Super Bowl with Tony Romo.
Oh, we're going to the
right now, he'd win a Super Bowl with anybody, with you as quarterback, right? He'd take that right now because it's been a long drought, right? No, he wants Tony Romo, and he believes that Tony is that guy, and he keeps saying publicly, greasing the skids, preparing Cowboy Nation for what is coming, that Tony Romo is better than Aaron Rodgers, and that Tony keeps saying, I've got 2 or 3 good years left as a starting quarterback. So Tony is daring a man he's very close to, and he knows how to push all the right buttons. He's daring him to cut him, let him free, let him go to the Redskins or whoever, let him go to a competitor because he doesn't really want to go to a competitor. He just wants to be the Cowboys' starting quarterback. So deep down, I believe that Jerry Jones is more dug in and entrenched than ever. And I laugh at these stories that say the Cowboys have to get rid of Tony Romo. They don't have to get rid of him. Jerry, remember, we had a story at midseason this year. Jerry pointed out very clearly and complexly.
He could keep both
He
of
could
them.
keep both of them under the cap.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Right.
Now, does it make sense? What have I said 1,000 times on this show?
Get rid of him and get some
yeah,
defense.
come
Get
on.
your corner, get your
rid
pass
of him.
rusher.
I'm all about Dak. Dak is the present. Dak is the future. I was saying that after 5 games last year. But I know Jerry all too well, and I'm convinced that his legacy is on the line, and the way to put the biggest exclamation point on that legacy right now is to not only keep Tony Romo, but to show all of us that Tony Romo can win a Super Bowl next year with a team that's clearly on the verge of winning a Super Bowl, though I can make a case that if you don't shore up the defense at all through free agency,
You're gonna be the same as
you're going to be the
last
same team. Yeah.
Skip, I'm going to disagree with you. It's inevitable. Tony Romo's going to move on.
I hope you're right.
Tony Romo wants to be a starter, and he knows right now that's not an option. Now, I believe, look, Jerry Jones was upset that they wasted a very good season. And all of a sudden, every week the Cowboys was in the news. Who can they win the Super Bowl? Can they get to the Super Bowl? Who can beat the Cowboys? Then they lost to Green Bay, and no one was talking about the Cowboys anymore. Jerry's always said that they're not talking about you, you're doing something wrong. So Jerry kept them in the news because everybody was talking about Matt Ryan and the Falcons and Tom Brady, the New England Patriots. And Jerry's like, they're supposed to be talking about me. I'm supposed to be playing the New England Patriots. This is supposed to be my moment. Not only did I go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this weekend, I was supposed to be winning that trophy the day after, Sunday, when Zeke runs for 200 yards and Dak throws for 300 and we beat the Patriots. That's what Jerry was trying to do, but he realized that now we're not winning. We're not going to the Super Bowl. Nobody's going to be talking about us. It's all about the 2 teams that's playing in the Super Bowl. Skip, this is what I don't understand about Jerry. And I understand, and I say, I joke a lot and say Tony Romo Jones. He does. He absolutely views Tony Romo as a son of his. But Skip, Jerry Jones cut Aikman. He cut him. He cut Emmitt Smith. He cut Emmitt Smith, the all-time leading rusher, who had won a league MVP, won a Super Bowl MVP. Troy Aikman won a Super Bowl MVP. He cut both of them. They won championships for him. And he wants to hold on to a guy because it's his belief that he can validate me. I gave him $108 million, 55 guaranteed.
He did.
Now, if he were to do this, now I'm really complete. Because no matter what, yes, I won 3 Super Bowls in my first 7 years, but Jimmy gets all the credit because they say Jimmy picked all the players. And so now, even though we won that last championship without Jimmy, they said that's his players. Really, the only player that he really didn't pick was Larry Allen. But everybody else, that belongs to Jimmy. And so Jerry says, if I can win one with no Jimmy, I'm the GM, I'm the VP, I'm the owner, I'm the CEO, I'm the custodian, I'm the groundskeeper, and I prepare the meals. Who can say that? What owner can say that if Jerry would have pulled this off? Mr. Kraft, because we know Coach Belichick pulls all the strings.
Sure.
There's a separation of power even in Pittsburgh, but there is no separation of power in Dallas. It starts and stops with Jerry. So if he can get Tony Romo and win a Super Bowl with Tony Romo, but Skip, it's over. And you're hearing now Tony Romo say he'll restructure his contract. You don't have a choice in the matter. If they release you, you're not going to make $24 million. Look, someone can tell me the hottest restaurant in LA is the sushi restaurant. Well, hell, what good is that if I don't eat sushi? Tony Romo can do all this other stuff about, I won more pro. What they got to do, Skip? You don't think Peyton Manning, all things being equal, would have rather finished his career in Indy?
I agree.
The Indianapolis Colts cut Peyton Manning.
They did.
4-time league MVP. He went to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1, and he's a league MVP.
You don't think Jerry's remembering that right now? You don't think he has the same fear that Tony will become Peyton Manning? Obviously, he doesn't belong in the same sentence, but...
First of all, he don't even belong in the same chapter.
No, he doesn't.
So
I agree.
Peyton is chapter 1,
right.
Tony Romo is maybe at the end.
Yeah, he's epilogue.
Think about this, Skip. Peyton Manning has 4 MVPs. Tony Romo has 4 Pro Bowls. So they're not... But I'm just saying, all things being equal, Peyton would have loved to finish his career in Indy, but he knew that wasn't an option.
So it sounds like you think there's some merit to my fear that Jerry's going to keep Romo, right?
No, he's not going to keep him. He's not going to keep him.
But you can see why.
Of course.
He's made to keep Romo.
Yes.
He's built to keep him. That's who he is.
Skip, you don't get to become as successful as Jerry is by just saying, okay, you're right. Okay, let's do this. You have to have some stick to you. And it says, you know what? I know everybody's saying this, but in my gut it's telling me this. and I'm going to ride with my gut. Because like you said, okay, he started out, he got real good, and then he went belly up. He had to build all the way back up again.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's at the top of the mountain. Now, getting this Super Bowl, Skip, man, look here.
Mm-hmm.
If Jerry would have won a Super Bowl with Tony Romo, Skip, you couldn't hit him in the butt with a red apple.
There's a thin line between gut and pride.
I agree. But
Well, his pride is in his gut, Joey.
I'm just saying.
It is bubbling over.
Sometimes there's a little, a bit of a distinction you have to make there.
No, I agree. But just remember what Jerry said the day after they lost to Aaron Rodgers. Lucky play, but I won't get into that. And the hand of God.
That was Aaron Rodgers had the hand of God when he threw that pass to Jerry Cook.
But that let's forget about that. But the point was they lost to Aaron Rodgers, and the next day Jerry Jones said Tony Romo could have made all the throws that Aaron Rodgers made yesterday. Why did he say that? For one of two reasons. Either he was trying to drive up Tony's bargaining power, the trade value, right? Mm-hmm. Or he's trying to grease the skids for Cowboy Nation to say, I made a mistake and I'm going to keep him next year. And the kid who won me 11 straight games and got me the #1 seed, we got him on the back burner. He'll be okay. He can play in a couple more years. We'll put him in the Aaron Rodgers program where he can be on the back burner for 3 years if need be.
He's gone. Tony's gone. He wants to be gone because he understands the dynamic of that locker room. He knows all the guys. Look, even Jason Witten, his best friend, knows that moving forward, Dak is the guy for the job. That locker room, Skip, because they basically said all this man has done, you took the job from him just for your, like Joey said, your pride. This is not about anything else because right now, Dak outplayed.
I got it, but that locker room door is cracked about that far open right now because they lost.
Jerry got his foot in it.
But they lost. He does.
Jerry got his foot in the door.
No, Aaron Rodgers got his foot in the door. No, he did because they lost a home #1 seed first game, right? First playoff.
But Tony's done that twice. Tony's done that.
Well, he has.
Well, Jerry's gonna Jerry. We know that. That's for sure.
No mercy.
This is the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast, where we're delivering you an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the biggest topics of the day's show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, like us on Facebook at Undisputed on FS1, follow on Twitter at Undisputed, and catch us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Monday through Friday on FS1. You can find us on channel 219 on DirecTV, 150 on Dish. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. We'll leave all the debates there for today. We come back tomorrow when we're joined by our man, Chris Carter, Fox Sports Hoop analyst, Jim Jackson. And watch out, Rob Parker is back on the debate desk on Tuesday. We'll talk to you then.
Fox Sports, 1 of 1.